Carrie Anne-Moss has developed a nice career thanks to both movie and television roles. She first rose to prominence with her role as Trinity in the Matrix series, which has been going on for over 20 years now. After her burst into the limelight, the actress has moved in and out of the spotlight, featuring in plenty of shows with varying degrees of success. Her other notable credits run the gamut from the memorable Chocolate, Memento, to the very forgettable Pompeii, Silent Hill Revelation. Here are 10 things you probably didn't know about Carrie Anne-Moss. She was named after a song. Carrie Anne-Moss was born on August 21, 1967, in Burnaby, British Columbia to Barbara and Melvin Moss. Her mother reportedly named her after the Hollies' 1967 hit song, Carrie Ann, which had been released in May that year. She lived with her mother in Vancouver as a child. At the age of 11, she joined Vancouver Children's Musical Theatre and later went on to tour Europe with the McGee Secondary School Choir in her senior year. What inspired her to act? When she was younger, Moss had an epiphany that inspired her to start acting. This occurred when she encountered two beautiful strangers during a trip to Los Angeles. She told Monte Cristo magazine, "These two blondes, sort of beauty pageant girls, came into the elevator. They were gorgeous. They were dolled up. I remember feeling like the air came out of the room, and I got tiny, and I just wanted to stare at them because I had never seen anyone that looked like that." The incident stuck with her and influenced her decision to act. After she finished high school, she moved to California and began to study acting. However, modeling quickly became her profession, with the young Moss getting work in Europe and North America. It took a while before her passion for acting was reignited. The trajectory of her life changed after seeing the 1989 film Field of Dreams. She said, "I sat in the movie theater and thought at that moment, I'm changing my life right now, and I did." She started with small roles on TV. Few are lucky enough to start their acting career as a bona fide superstar. Before she became Trinity, Moss had supporting roles on a variety of TV shows. Her first credited appearance was on the 1989 television series The Hitchhiker. She spent the following years taking various roles in TV, some more consistent than others. Her first regular role was in the 1991 TV series Dark Justice. The gig followed a series of one-episode parts, thus elevating her to a new level in her career. She has starred in more than one Matrix. Believe it or not, Carrie Anne-Moss has appeared in more than one project with Matrix in the title. Before the advent of 1999's The Matrix, one of her earliest roles was the 1993 supernatural drama Matrix. The television show explored a hitman Steve Matrix, who dies and must atone for his sins on Earth to avoid eternal damnation. The actress played the role of Liz Teal, a companion and love interest for the protagonist. Who could have guessed that, just 6 years later, she would play a somewhat similar role in one of the world's most popular movies? Unfortunately, the 1993 Matrix lasted for a single season with 13 episodes in total. She considered becoming a waitress because she didn't get paid much for The Matrix. Although The Matrix skyrocketed Moss to fame, her financial status wasn't instantly commensurate with her popularity. This was due to not being paid all that much money in the first film. Before working on the film, she was having a difficult time as an actor. She booked a role in the TV series Dark Justice, which was cancelled after 2 seasons. Her career took a hit after the show's cancellation. She took a couple of parts in television here and there, but she eventually found herself in financial trouble. Her casting in the Aaron Spelling soap, Models Incorporated, helped temporarily relieve her financial worries. She told Chatelaine, "I had no money, zero. I had to get an apartment because I'd just broken up with my boyfriend. Somebody told Mr. Spelling, so he advanced me $10,000. Unfortunately, Models Incorporated didn't take off and was eventually cancelled as well." She eventually secured the role of Trinity in The Matrix after a couple of auditions. But her financial circumstances were left unchanged at first. She said, "I wasn't paid much money to do The Matrix. It took a year of my life, and I lost my SAG insurance because I was working out of the country. I thought, my God, I'm going to have to wait on tables while I have this huge movie coming out." Fortunately for Moss, however, the film was a success. So much so that the star found herself shaking from the newfound fame and fortune the film brought her. After the 1999 film premiere of The Matrix, Moss went back to her hotel room, where she couldn't stop shaking. She said, "I really got to know myself at that time, and I feel that I became more real." She suffered an injury while filming The Matrix. One of the most iconic fight sequences in the original Matrix is the scene in which her character, Trinity, jumps into the air and kicks someone in slow motion. It's one of the most memorable action moments in all of film history. What many fans don't know is that she performed the stunt while battling through an ankle injury. She twisted her ankle early on during production, but kept the injury a secret, worried that she would be recast if the studio found out. She toughed it out for the entire filming schedule and only revealed the injury once filming had wrapped. It's wild to think about when considering Trinity's signature fighting style involves a whole lot of kicking. While she was able to avoid being sidelined during the first film, she wasn't so lucky the second time around. She broke her leg during the first week of production on The Matrix Reloaded, and it took 12 months for her to recover. Regardless, the next time you sit down to watch The Matrix and Trinity loads up one of her signature kicks, make sure you remember what was happening behind the scenes and how impressive it is that she could fight like that at all. She was offered a grandmother role after she became 40. Moss revealed that she began receiving scripts to play the grandmother in films the day after her 40th birthday. She told Hollywood Reporter, "I had heard that at 40, everything changed. I didn't believe in that because I don't believe in just jumping on a thought system that I don't align with. But literally the day after my 40th birthday, I was reading a script that had come to me and I was talking to my manager about it. She was like, 'Oh, no, it's not that role, it's the grandmother.' I may be exaggerating a bit, but it happened overnight. I went from being a girl to the mother to beyond the mother." She admitted that the transition was kind of brutal to witness and process, partly because male actors are usually cut the slack in Hollywood. She runs a lifestyle brand. In addition to her acting career, Moss runs the lifestyle brand Annapurna Living, a lifestyle website that gives fans a glimpse into her everyday life while striving to enhance their well-being. Online courses are taught by Moss herself on how to live an extremely thoughtful and considerate life, offering a helping hand to people, in particular, women, who are struggling to endure the stresses and pace of the modern world. The site also offers a blog run by Moss about her daily life, tackling topics ranging from the reasons women gather together and why it's healthy to how she grounds herself creatively. Another part of the website is the Fierce Grace Collective, a 12-month program that centers on yoga, meditation, and mindfulness through videos, worksheets, and more. Video games and voice work. While continuing to work on screen, she took her talents into the recording studio to do some voice work for video games. Naturally, she reprised her role as Trinity in Enter the Matrix, which required a little more than just voice work. Moss, alongside Keanu Reeves and Jada Pinkett Smith, provided motion capture performance in addition to the voices of their famous characters. She also voiced villain Arya T. Loke in the second and third Mass Effect games. Family life. Moss married American actor Stephen Roy in 1999, and they have 2 sons and a daughter. She has remained relatively private as far as her family is concerned, choosing not to reveal her children's names to the media. However, throughout several interviews, she has discussed a few important details about her family. During her first pregnancy, she continued acting, but cut down her projects considerably. Motherhood has been quite important to her since the birth of her oldest son, balancing her family life with her continuing career, making sure that she makes plenty of time for her family while still pursuing her lifelong passions.